It's Bigfoot Collectors Club with Bryce and Michael. I know a ghost story or two. Let's do this.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to a brand new Bigfoot Collectors Club, the show where we talk to amazing guests about their personal paranormal history and share stories of high strangeness. I'm your host, Michael McMillan. With me always is your other host,
Bryce Johnson.
And our super producer,
Riley Bray.
And we're doing something a little different this week, guys, because our guest had some technical issues. We decided to kick this recording over to Zoom. And we are going to record the video of this impromptu with our guest. This is going to be up. You're going to be able to watch the video on our Patreon.
Now
Bigfoot
we're making
Collectors
lemonade.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Yeah.
Bigfoot Collectors Club, the other side. So if you want to watch this, go to patreon.com/BigfootCollectorsClub and subscribe for $5 a month. You'll get 3 to 5 bonus episodes. You'll get fun video shit like this. And we're going to thank all of you in just a minute. But to thank our patrons, I would like to bring in our guest for today. She's the godmother of the podcast. She's a comedian, author, actor, writer. She does everything. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, cryptids and non-cryptids alike, please welcome back to the clubhouse, Ms. Jen Kirkman.
Yeah! All right!
Thank you, guys. And people, you got to get this Patreon because I've got great wallpaper. I put eyeshadow on, and I'm wearing a Nirvana nightgown.
Yeah. Oh,
So-
God, that's amazing.
This is top quality content here.
I mean, you need to pay. No one gets to see me in my nightgown.
You're
gotta
good.
pay for it.
You get to see Jen in a nightgown. You get to see Riley in the clubhouse where we used to record these things.
Yeah.
You see Bryce in what looks to be Club Bryce itself, judging from the blue glow
What is
behind
This
him.
looks like he's about to get bottle service.
He's in the VIP section of Club Bryce. And then over my shoulders, you'll see my Ghostbusters action figure collection, some Star Wars shit over here, a bunch of Star Wars crap. It's
Amazing.
fun. You get a little glimpse into all of our little sad worlds. All right. Before we get into everything with Jen, welcome back to the show, by the way.
Thank you.
We love you. It's so great
Love
you're
you
here. We have some Patreon shout outs. So here we go. These are all the people who recently rejoined the Patreon or joined it for the first time. So, Jen, would you like to join in on thanking our friends over on the Patreon?
Of course.
Here we go. We'll start with Jen, go to Bryce, and then to Riley. How's that sound?
Perfect.
Alternate those thanks. Okay, here we go. Sam Royale,
Thank you.
Ian Allister,
Thank you.
Heidi Klein,
Thank you.
Biren A. Oron.
Thanks,
Jen-
Biren.
There you go. Billy Yum Yum 2x2.
Thank you, Billy.
Alejandro Moreno.
Thank you.
Virginia Maroney.
Thanks, Virginia.
Eli Green.
Thank you, Eli.
Renee Ramich.
It's so unfair that I have to follow that. Thank you.
M_H.
M_H. Oh my God. Thank you.
Bob Grizzly.
Thank you very much, Bob.
Carrie Longest.
Thank you.
Austin Starnes.
Thanks, dude.
Jeff Stewart.
Thank you.
Joshua Cutchin.
Thank you.
Thanks, Josh.
Oh, wow, Joshua.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thanks,
What's up,
Josh.
dude?
Justin Campoli.
Thanks.
Anita Weinberg.
Thanks, Anita.
Valerie Mansher.
It's funny every time. Thank you.
Dan DeMan.
Thanks, Danny.
You DeMan. Courtney Block.
Thank you, Courtney.
Sammy Davis.
Junior, thank you.
Michelle C. Vine.
Thanks, Michelle.
Thomas Gent.
Thank you.
Matt McGlushan.
Thank you.
McGlashan. I fancied it up. I'm sorry, Matt. Rick Ermes.
Hey, thanks, Rick.
Angela Coombs. Or Combs.
Thank you,
I think
Angela.
I think it's Combs. Angela
Combs.
Combs. Thank you.
Thanks, Angela.
Ross Griff.
Thanks, Ross.
Now you guys get to all watch me screw up these names. Kenzie Morgan.
Thanks, Kenzie.
Steve Schnack.
Thanks, Steve.
Dia Barkley.
Thanks.
Maureen Weum.
Thanks.
Amy.
Thank you, Amy.
Meat Mans,
Thanks, Meat Mans.
Mike Hendricks,
Hey, thanks, Mike.
Kenneth Malam,
Thank you.
Jessica Soltero,
Thank you.
and Jeffrey Soltero.
Thanks, Jeffrey, sister of Jessica, brother, I mean.
I think they're
Or
husband and
husband?
wife.
Oh,
I think
sorry.
they're husband and wife.
I don't know it.
Gross, sister and brother.
Oh,
Or they're the Wonder Twins, which would be cool.
I don't know.
Why
Jeffrey-
do we assume they're sister and brother? That's how long it's been since I've had a fucking relationship.
Jeffrey Deldana,
Thank you, Jeffrey.
Tiana Holt,
thanks, Tiana.
Taco Bell Cat Dad,
Thanks, Taco Bell Cat Dad.
Timmy Red,
Thank you, Timmy.
Holly Stidham,
Thank you.
Ellie,
Hey, Ellie, thanks.
JB Stepo,
Thank you.
Anthony Golden,
Thanks, Anthony.
Forrest,
Forrest, rock on.
Michelle Bryant,
Thank you, Michelle.
Alex Northrop,
Thank you.
Ben Forsyth,
Thanks, Ben.
Timothy Burke,
Thank you very much.
Mark Morris,
Thank you.
Robert Deanware,
Thanks, baby.
Kristen Anderson.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you very
Wow.
much.
Thank you very much.
All of you guys who joined the Patreon, we really appreciate it. If you want to join in, see stuff like this, do our movie club apps, our Northern Fright series that we're doing all winter long, Zoom shows like this one and the recent Willow Creek reunion, and our Bigfoot TV Club, where we are currently recapping every episode of Bryce's show on Discovery Plus, Expedition Bigfoot.
Nice.
Head over to patreon.com/Bigfoot Collectors Club. And now it's time for the show.
Yay.
Jen, welcome back. Any weird shit going on in your life since you were last here on the Bigfoot Collectors Club?
Well, yes, but I don't want to say it. But you know,
Fair
what it is.
enough.
Fair enough.
Now you're like Bryce. You just
well-
keep more secrets from us the longer the show goes on.
Yeah, I feel like I don't want to talk about it because this particular person who died, the last thing they want is me to talk about them.
Got
And
it.
I think their ghost came to me to be like, please.
Please.
But there was a recent someone I knew who passed that I was very close with at one point in my life, and
Oh.
there is one object in my home that they are related to. It was given to me by them, and it's a giant oil painting that hangs in my guest bathroom that I don't ever really use. And I've been in this apartment 7 years. I've been through many very apartment shaking earthquakes. My pictures always end up crooked after every earthquake. Never the giant oil painting in the bathroom, as it's very, very secured in a different way than my other pictures are.
Mm.
And I went in the bathroom to get something out of the cabinet, and it was almost like almost like you were set decorating a haunted house. You know, it was just perfectly just tilted on. And I've had that up for 7 years. There wasn't an earthquake, and I thought, is this person who recently passed away sending me a message? We weren't on good terms when this person passed away, and so I feel like the last thing their ghost would do is visit me. But if so, it would be more of a prank than a you know what I mean. But
Yeah.
I was texting Michael like, what do I fucking do? And he told me to say something about good energy, and then I heard a giant slam in the bathroom.
Wow.
And that scared me. There was a bunch of stuff that had fallen, like on the inside of the closet, you know, where I keep my cleaning supplies, like something had tipped over. So it's not that crazy, you know, things can tip over. It was just
The timing.
the timing was not ideal. But that's it. I mean, the picture now, I cannot get it to stay straight. It's not as crazy crooked. It's just a little bit. So I leave it there as a you know.
Have you taken the painting off, the print off the wall, and looked just to make sure that like the hook's not loose and maybe?
Oh,
that's
yeah,
the
yeah.
problem?
Yeah. It's just,
Have you checked for treasure maps behind the paper
This
lining?
could be a Curly's Gold situation.
It's true. It's a good point.
God,
Where
that's
this
a great
person's
idea.
Ghost is trying to be like, hey, by the way, I gave you this because there's a treasure map in here. When I was hoping you would discover it.
I just, I can't imagine this ghost wants anything good for me.
Well, you know what? When you cross over to the other side, you see things from a different perspective. I'm sure they're just saying hi, and they're saying, "Go find that treasure."
Oh, I hope, but that's about it. You know, I have my sage stick that I'm gonna be burning throughout the episode because I don't want any other weird things happening, and I don't want any ghosts listening. Oh, she's on that podcast again. She's open, not open.
Gotcha.
Great. Sounds good. Well, we'll keep an eye over your shoulder in case we see a shadow person move behind you.
Yeah,
I just
please.
I like the idea of the ghosts listening to our podcast, just like tune.
I do too.
Yeah. They're like,
You don't
oh,
think
man,
that-
this week.
You don't think that when you guys record that like spirits are more focused on you guys?
That's what we've been told.
Yeah.
No,
Been
that's
told that
interesting.
happens.
Of course it does.
I don't know about that.
That's interesting.
That's the one thing you guys don't believe.
Yeah, I don't believe
Yeah,
the
that's
ghost
out
listening.
there.
Michael believes it conveniently because he doesn't want that to be the thing.
I don't
Oh
want
my
it.
God.
I think if you just say, "Hey," I don't think I said anything about good energy. I just mean like, "Hey, I acknowledge you're here. Go away, please. Thank you," and that should take care of it.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. I had some BCC news that I think I might save for next week because it's not a really great visual thing now that we're recording this, but I do have one that is a bit more visual that's a little fun. It's just sort of in your mind's eye, I guess, visual. So, Riley, it's time for some...
Oh, I was going to hold. I'll edit this. Hold on.
Don't edit anything. This is how it's all done.
Oh, we're just going to let it roll?
Yeah, let it roll, baby.
Sure.
Why not? See,
Okay.
everybody...
It's time for some...
BCC News.
I was trying to play the sound cue and it didn't
Just
play.
gonna
Are we
play
still
it.
not editing this? We're really letting people know
Yeah,
how
we'll
this
let
all
it go.
works.
All right, it's BCC News
I
time,
crushed
guys.
that.
Oh, wait, I got it. Okay, it's
He's
time.
gonna play the cue.
I'm gonna play. It's like
Oh.
radio. It's like real life.
Remember,
It's
we're
like real
doing
life.
this live now.
It's live. It's live,
Wow.
baby.
It's
By the
been
way,
a while.
Bryce, your mustache is coming back. We
It's
noticed.
looking good. Yeah.
Yeah, I had a cop roll the other day, so I thought I'd just go for it.
Every
Now
cop
I
audition,
just-
you got to grow a
Now I
mustache.
can imagine just like them like watching and go, wow, desperate, this guy. Look at this fucking guy's tape.
You
Hey, I'm a
literally,
cop! Look at me! You're under arrest!
you literally like have a
Jesus.
donut and a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh well.
All right,
What am I
ready?
gonna do?
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready.
All right.
Oh, you have to say the line.
Oh, well, you did it before. All right, everybody, we have some
Oh, fucking hell.
BCC news.
Oh, we're gonna get this right. If we're doing it, we're gonna get it right.
All right.
Here we go. Say the line.
Okay, everybody, we have some
BCC News.
So anticlimactic.
All right.
We did it though. We did it.
We did it. All right. This is from last month. Jen, I'm excited to know if you heard about this.
Mhm.
I got this from BuzzFeed. This is all about, this headline reads, I truly don't understand this hobby that Kesha picked up from Demi Lovato, but I respect it. Apparently, and I'm going to sort of shortchange this one, paraphrase, Demi Lovato and Kesha are meditating and trying to contact UFOs.
Mm.
Oh, I hadn't heard about this. The story or the notion.
So, BuzzFeed said, of course, we knew Demi was out there looking for signs of life from other planets. She said so in her monologue while hosting last year's People's Choice Awards, joking that that's like,
Weird choice, but I love it.
you know, that if Bryce and I are ever like given the opportunity to host the People's Choice Awards, we will work Bigfoot into our opening monologue.
Yeah. Something about the government hiding the truth about Sasquatch and then on to the nominees.
Yes. She joking that she got unengaged, then went looking for aliens in the desert. But now, I mean, I first of all, Demi Lovato, if you're listening, please come on the show. We want to talk to you. But now Kesha's got aliens on the brain too. Kesha said, I'm like trying to get all my friends and family into meditating the aliens to us, she went on. It's my new favorite hobby because of Demi Lovato. Kesha, Demi, this author says, I salute you both, specifically for your quest to find out whether the truth is in fact really out there. And I guess they got into some books. I'm wondering if it's some Stephen Greer stuff. I don't know. But that this article was brought to us by Larry Fitzmaurice at BuzzFeed. So there you go.
Strange.
Well, there was that UFO sighting over Los Angeles 2 weeks ago.
That was crazy. Yeah.
Maybe if they live in LA, maybe they've done it.
That's a great point. We should put that up in the Instagram. There was that somebody somebody took a photo of a weird light flying over LA out of the screen of their car, and I think we have Demi and Kesha to thank for that. Absolutely.
You know, this subject of summoning UFOs is kind of I've come in contact with that idea a few times recently. One, I was reading Amy Bruni's new book, My Life with Ghosts, and she talks about one of the survivors, probably not the right word, but one of the children that grew up in the Conjuring house, that house that they made the Conjuring movies off of, with all that poltergeist activity. She says she's now has the ability to summon UFOs, and people have seen her do it. And then I was going through, I don't know, my Instagrams or whatever, and I saw this gentleman out of Las Vegas who also claimed the ability to summon UFOs. And the news, like KTL something Vegas, put out a news reporter out there, and he meets this. He's like, you pick the place, you pick the time. He told the reporter, and he's like, okay, well, let's meet in this park at this so and so time. The guy gets there, and the guy just sort of goes into this sort of like meditative thing, and then the reporter looks up and there's a fucking light above head, and he's like, you could see the reporter's just like shell shocked. He's like, what the wow, I mean, what is that? And it's like, he's like, I told you, and it's like, but there seems to be this idea that through meditation, through prayer, through high concentration, I guess we all might have the ability to, I've done it myself maybe in the past, summon some UFOs. But I love the connection between paranormal activity and the ability to summon UFOs. And I think so many people think these things are mutually exclusive, but I can probably list off a few different cases where paranormal activity are related to strange lights in the sky, or what people would interpret as UFOs. So there's got to be a connection there, I would think.
I've seen that video or that news story. That's been around for a while now, at least 10 years or so.
Yeah, that's right. It's pretty old.
We'll see if we can find that link and throw it up somewhere so you guys can watch it. I'll put a link in the show notes to this episode. It's a really fun. The guy is like, oh my God, he actually did it.
Yeah. And it's the classic type of UFO that you would see in somebody. It's just some like strange little ball of light changing colors and just sort of, lazily hanging in the sky above. It's very strange. So I don't know, that's why it's like, are these UFOs extraterrestrials, or is there something stranger going on? I don't know if we'll ever truly know the answer. And maybe there's both. Maybe it's both. Maybe, there's extraterrestrials and UFOs, and maybe there's these poltergeist lights too. So who knows?
Well, if there's any way to get in touch with beings on another planet, who's to say? If something as extraordinary as that exists, why wouldn't our minds, our meditations, our intentions, why couldn't that be part of it?
They supposedly
Good
can
point.
they're telepathic, so they would be able to be like, oh, there's somebody's down there, some podcast idiot who's been alone in his apartment for 11 months now.
I'm getting a call. I'm being summoned.
Yeah.
Well, it's like that movie that was just out, the Trial of the Chicago 7, but Abby Hoffman and a bunch of those guys from the 60s and 70s. I mean, he would stage these kind of outrageous things to call attention to political things, but he had this more comedic bent to it, but also a little spiritual bent to it. But it was tongue in cheek, but he had a bunch of people that they were going to try to levitate the Pentagon. And so so stuff like that is like, I mean, he wasn't serious, I don't think, but
no, they were serious. This was like, we should do a story on this actually. And my a girl that I went to high school with, her uncle was part of this movement. There was a big occultist hippie movement it was sort of a peace protest. It was sort of an anti-Vietnam protest.
Yeah.
They were going to go they encircled the Pentagon, and they all meditated to try to lift the Pentagon from its foundation. It was like a big, it didn't happen, obviously, but it was like a big, press story, got a lot of attention. That's just off the top of my head, but I've read about it before, and it's a really cool story that we should do on the show sometime.
Yeah, when this thing's all over, man, I would love for us to do some field trips and get out there in the field and try and summon a UFO, all four of us. I think that would be awesome.
Gotta do it.
Maybe
We should just go.
Maybe levitate a table afterwards if we have time.
I think
Please
we go to
let me
Shaver
come to
Lake
that.
and do it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you're definitely coming.
Let's go to Shaver Lake. Let's just go up to Shaver Lake and do it.
Done.
Yeah, absolutely. Come on up, guys. It's there.
Oh, the lake is always
So
there.
getting murdered.
All right, everybody. Yeah. So
No, you'll be the sole survivor. We'll all get murdered.
You're the
and you'll be
final girl,
one.
Jen.
Yeah,
That
you
is
live
true.
to tell the tale.
That is true.
All right. It's time to dig back into the L files. We're reading listener stories this week. You guys wrote in to Bigfoot Collectors Club at gmail.com with your personal paranormal histories and stories of high strangeness. And we're going to diggy dive right in. I wanted to start with a letter that's a fun one. This isn't totally an L file, but I found it in the file cabinet, so it's fine. This is from listener Lyric, who says, "Hey guys, my son is 6 and would like for me to share his theories on Bigfoot, Mothman, and Nessie. These are written exactly as he told them. He doesn't listen to the podcast, but hears me talk about it all the time and has a very vivid imagination, which we, of course, indulge. He talks a lot about aliens, claims to be part alien, and when asked what he wanted to share for his email, he said, 'I don't want to reveal my secrets.'"
I love this kid.
Yeah. This kid might actually be an alien. But here we go. Here's what he says about Bigfoot. "He is a man that may be a teenager and had a dare to sleep in the forest for one night. In the morning, he woke up in the woods and couldn't find his way back home. So he searched all around to find his way home. He doesn't want people to see him because he's embarrassed that they may make fun of him, thinking he didn't follow through on the dare."
I love it.
Cute.
All right.
That's
Yeah.
very cute.
Mhm.
Of course, my nose is starting to run on the one time.
So it's almost like he's a teenager, but he's a ghost. No, he didn't die on the dare.
No, he just got lost in, he did. Go ahead, Riley. Sorry.
He's just a hairy teen,
Mm-hmm.
I think is
Teen wolf.
yeah. It's it's a Teen Wolf situation, but he chickened out of sleeping in the woods.
Yeah, he got scared.
I remember being a teen, and I would always compare myself to the amount of hair somebody had on their shins. It was a big thing. I was like, dude,
Of course you would.
this guy's got a lot of shin hair. Fuck.
That's a man right
I
there.
hope I'm not going to have to meet him in the locker room because I don't have that much shin hair right now. This guy is obviously
Right now.
developing faster than the rest of us.
I was terrified. Not terrified. I was more disgusted.
Right.
But I remember being like, I wonder if I got pubes yet. And I took a look, and they were coming in, and I immediately hated myself. I was like, I do not want this to happen.
Why, God?
Yeah, I was like, no, thank you. More hair is more gross. Okay, here we go. By the way, I still have hair there. I don't want to sound like I shaved myself bald down there. Just now we're all thinking about my pubes.
Did all these Manscaped ads, who knows where things ended up.
Look, I like to keep it tidy. And by the way, you guys failed Uncle Dickie and you killed him. I just want to let you know. Because you didn't order enough Manscaped products, we no longer have Uncle Dickie with us.
I mean, maybe
Your
it's a
fault.
good thing. How much can we talk about ball trimming?
As much as they pay us. It was nice to make some money. Okay, here we go.
All right.
He says about Mothman. He was a regular moth, and back in the old days when people used to eat frogs and stuff like that, some of those folks were trying to shoot him down. They winged him, but he could still fly a little. He fell into a chemical experiment that was supposed to turn anything into a man. He was too powerful as a moth, so it made him part man and part moth. To be a moth or a man again, he must find a human to eat.
I love it.
Checks out. Yeah.
That's some Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles logic there. I dig it.
I like that he was too powerful as a moth.
Yeah.
So they made him part man. That's good.
That's a real commentary on humans.
Yeah. And moths.
Yes. The inner strength of a moth is hard to destroy with chemicals.
At least this kid's thinking outside the box. This is the type of thinking we need.
Yeah.
This is a kid who's going to grow up and replace our jobs in Hollywood. Loch Ness Monster. The dinosaurs that used to swim, some perished when the meteor struck, except some dinosaurs that got trapped in sap. And the sap is melting now. Nessie is one of those dinosaurs. She lived in Scotland. A tree fell on her and put her in the sap. Now it's melting, and she's like all the other dinosaur sightings we're seeing. News alert, by the way, we're seeing more dinosaurs.
I didn't know it was a girl.
Yeah, we've called her a girl on the show, or a female, I should say. But I like that he's embraced that, or he's come up with it on his own.
I think there's something to it.
He writes, since the islands have grown together by nature, Nessie cannot get out to find more food. Oh, so she's trapped in that. It used to be an ocean. Now she's trapped in a lake. We see her come up for air. Okay, got it. Thanks for taking the time to read his theories. He's been asking me to email y'all for a while. Sending all the best to each of you and your families. Heather and her son. She said it was okay to say his name. I will keep it. You know, we don't need any creeps rolling up at this kid's elementary school being like, are you the one that came up with the Nessie and sap theory? So we'll just say Heather and son in Georgia. Thanks,
Right
Heather.
on. Thank you, guys. Love that.
Yeah. I love that it was his idea to write the letter, and he's been bugging her to do it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
He's like,
hope
you
they
need to
don't
tell
let him-
these guys.
I hope they don't let him listen to the segment, which devolved into pubic hair.
Hey,
Yeah,
he's
no,
got to
Fast
learn.
forward, Mom.
It's going to happen.
Watch out for the shins, kid.
Yeah. Don't judge. Don't compare yourself to somebody else's shins. Be a strong moth, little man.
Yeah.
Be a strong moth. Okay, let's dig in. Jen, I thought you could kick off the paranormal stories from our listeners. What do you got there?
Yes. Do you want me to read them in the order? Read the first one.
Yes,
Yeah,
please, if you would.
I would and will. Okay. Here you go. That's your email. I'm like, here you go. Okay, sorry. Beginning now. Hello, BCC boys and guests.
That would be you.
That's me. I have been listening to your podcast for a while now and want to thank you for the positivity and laughter you bring. You have helped me through one of the worst bouts of depression. You are very appreciated.
Oh, well, thanks.
Love that.
That's really nice.
We get depression. We understand it. And sorry you're going through it right now, listener.
Oh, yeah.
Well, my cousin is an avid hunter on Vancouver Island in British Columbia. And we have always joked about wanting to see Bigfoot on our trip to the woods together. When he told me what he saw on his last solo hunting trip, I knew you had to hear it. I got his permission to share. Sorry if it's long. My cousin said he saw a UFO while relaxing by the fire at the end of a day on a hunting trip. When I asked him if he could describe what he saw, he described the Phoenix lights, but might I say that was not the best part of his story. This is what he told me. Quote, I saw 12 lights above the mountain in a straight line equal distance apart. I thought I was seeing shit as I had trouble focusing on one light. So I tried to find the end of the line, then whatever it was moved in front of a star and blocked it out. That's when I tried to record it, but it didn't come through because I was close to the fire. I stopped trying to record, and when I looked up, there were a lot less lights, 5 or 6 now. I slowly watched as they disappeared. As soon as the last light was gone, I heard a loud bellowing knocks on the trees around me. One in front of me down the hill a bit, another at the same elevation that was to my left, one in front of me down the hill a bit, another at the same elevation that was to my left, and the last right behind me. I have never heard anything like that before, and I threw all my shit in the truck, put out the fire, and drove straight home. I told him how I have heard that some people feel that Bigfoot and aliens are linked, and asked if he had any missing time. He said no missing time, but has a theory, gut feeling on what was going on. His theory is that Bigfoot are aliens, and they aren't hiding from people. They are hiding from another type of aliens, and that's why when the last light was gone, they started knocking on the trees to let the rest of the group know they were okay. This makes sense to me, as other stories you guys have told that have a mix of Bigfoot and aliens, in that the Bigfoot don't seem to be the ones in control as much as they are the muscle. Perhaps they are slaves. I jokingly told him he should have knocked back and made some sweet hunting buddies. What do you guys think? Thanks again, Natasha in British Columbia, Canada.
Wow. Well, I have in-laws on Vancouver Island, and it's actually called, people refer to it as Ape Island due to all of the Bigfoot sightings that occur on that island. So, there's all kinds of, first of all, it is just vast forest. A lot of it's been logged, but it's pristine wilderness for these types of creatures if they exist. And the lights, that's strange. The Phoenix lights, classic. What's interesting about those lights where they, like that guy said, they could go off on their own and then reform part of the craft, block out stars. Very mysterious.
I wonder, what do you think about the Bigfoot being the aliens' hired muscle?
Yeah, I don't know, man. That's why not?
Maybe they're the Gamorrean guards to the alien Grey's Jabba the Hutt.
Yeah. Well, people do. At least in the abduction experience, people describe the different entities have sort of different roles, right? Like there's the little grays, and then there's the taller grays that seem to be in charge, and the. So yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting theory. It sounds like, what a great sighting, though. That sounds like a fun night.
Maybe the Bigfoot were knocking back and forth to each other because they also saw that giant UFO. You know what I mean? And they're like,
yeah,
they're back.
What if they were knocking because they saw a human man and they were like, hey, there's a dude. I don't know. Maybe they're afraid of him.
Possible.
Yeah. Be cool. Someone's camping out tonight.
Not only is there a human man, there's also alien graves. So the Bigfoot are like, this is a big night for us.
And they wrote about it to their podcast.
Yeah,
I saw a man.
Yeah, it's called Wood Knocks.
Yeah, knock, 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 knock.
The Knock Cast. Bryce, what do you got for us?
All right, let me take a look.
I like that you guys all print these out on paper. It's so,
well, I didn't want to leave
school.
the Zoom session and go on my email. And I'm old school.
Yeah, you're real pros. I like
old
it.
School like that. Here we go.
I love to print.
That's a T-shirt.
Yeah, right.
Here we go. Hi, Michael, Bryce, Riley, and Jen. I have been a big fan of the podcast after I discovered it when Paul Scheer was a guest. I've been hooked ever since, and I just joined the Patreon. Oh, welcome. I have a story that actually involves your podcast. I like listening to podcasts at night before I go to sleep. And my wife doesn't mind if I play them because they help her go to sleep. I mainly
we're so boring. Right to bed.
Well,
what a service we provide.
I mainly listen to you guys and political podcasts. One night, we were listening to the L-Files, and one of the stories involved an apparition of an old woman at the foot of someone's bed.
Oh.
I was worried this would freak out my wife, so I turned the podcast off. Important detail. I've been with my wife for over 20 years. In fact, she bought me a Bigfoot Collectors Club t-shirt for our 20th anniversary.
Aww.
All right, that's awesome.
Oh, that's amazing.
Cool wife.
Yeah.
And she always has had night terrors. I always ask her what scared her, and she almost always says she sees people near her. About 30 minutes after I turned off the podcast, my wife screamed out in a night terror. As usual, I asked her what she saw. She said, "I saw someone." I said, "Oh, it's probably because that story mentioned someone by the bed." She replied, "Oh no, they mentioned a woman by the foot of the bed, and I saw an old man right beside me." She went right back to sleep, and I just lied there petrified that there was an old man spirit in our room. Second story. As I mentioned earlier, I've never had...
Let's just go right past that one. And never talk about the old man by the bed again.
Seriously. I have never had night terrors, but I do have very clear dreams. In fact, if I'm dreaming and I wake up, it's because something woke me up. I can easily go back to sleep and resume my previous dream like it is a continuous story. Oh, that's an important step to lucid dreaming, actually. I also never dream about my house or normal experiences. Several months after the previous night, I had a night terror. All I remember is that I started screaming over and over again, "Turn on the light! Turn on the light!" I must have said this at least 6 times. My wife was shocked and scared and turned on the bedroom light. I didn't feel like I was in total control of myself. I wasn't even aware that I was screaming. As my wife asked me what was wrong, it dawned on me that I was screaming because I saw a creature in the corner of my bedroom beside me. Of course, it wasn't there when we turned on the lights. It was a slug-like creature, about the size of a raccoon, and it was sitting on my dresser in the corner of the room. Like I said, I don't dream about my house or my room at all, and I've never had a night terror. Some rational explanations could be it was stress, but it was honestly one of the least stressful times of the year. I don't know what I saw, but I'm so sure that something was in my room. I think I may have to take Bryce's advice and go get regressed. Love the show, Mike. All right. Well, thank you for that. That was amazing.
Real quick, can we go around and describe, if you have them, like nightmare creatures that appear? Is there any recurring nightmare creatures that appear in your dreams?
I
No
don't have any
creatures.
Yeah.
No.
Or motifs. I don't know. It doesn't have
I've had night terrors a lot, like not recently, but they were the last 5 years. I don't even want to think about it because I don't want them to come back.
What would they want? What did you see?
I don't want to think about it. So what was it?
It's always a shadow.
Let's think about it for a minute.
It's always like a man's shadow, and they're sitting on my bed, and they, they're coming towards me, but or something coming in the door. But like in the front door, like I can hear someone breaking in. It's always like a burglar kind of situation.
Well, that's not fun.
That's awful.
It's awful. And I'm always like, and I'm always like, oh, it's awful. Oh God. Anyway, no creatures.
Light more of that sage, girl.
Yeah, I'm lighting it.
The only common recurring night terror I can remember is when I was a boy, and it was that it was Stripe from the Gremlins. That one just happened over and over.
It's cute.
I've talked about that one. I don't know what it meant, but it always came in the same window, the same room, and it would just scare the fuck out of me. And so, yeah.
I just had that one dream, but I think I talked about it on the show early on. I had that recurring dream when I was a kid where I was like in an infinite white space, and then it would collapse down until I was like being crushed, and then I would fall down a waterfall and wake up right before I hit the water. And I had that dream like so many times.
Interesting.
But no creatures or anything like that.
I relate to the God, Bradley. That's like the cover of like an what is it? EDM? What is it? Electric dance music? Is that what it's called? Electronic?
Oh my God, Grandpa.
I don't know.
What do you call that? Techno?
The kids with the keyboards.
Is Dave Matthews still in a band? It sounds like a cover to some like electronica album.
No, I know. It's like my childhood brain was like a Pink Floyd concert, I guess.
Yeah, it's like you and Tom York have the same nightmares.
I'll take that.
The raccoon-sized slug resonated with me because I will have nightmares where there are little creatures, like almost like insect-like, or a little. They're always like about the size of a cat or a raccoon, but they're like millipedes, but they'll have like really vibrant colors and patterns, like stripes or polka dots or like weird. They look like something out of like a Joe Dante movie, like Gremlins or something.
Yeah.
But they're big. They're big bugs, and I'm always like trying to run away
world
from
is
them.
just.
Oh man,
God, we're lucky. Insects are so small.
seriously. Grace and I were watching videos of caterpillars the other night, and man, their faces are horrifying. They're like monsters.
Oh my God.
And they shoot them with all macro, all close up. There's like these, just like they crazy. Yeah. And then, they make a spit cocoon and liquefy their bodies and turn into butterflies, like moths.
So
crazy.
Recently I've been, as soon as I wake up, I don't like to go. I've been giving myself at least like 15, 20 minutes before I go to the phone, trying to break that habit of immediately going to the phone.
Nice.
And so what I'll do now is I'll just try and go back through details of the dreams that I had, and it's really difficult. But the more you practice it, the more you can start remembering your dreams. But are you guys able to remember your dreams in the morning time?
Yeah.
They're always very vivid in the morning.
Oh yeah, that's good. That's a good thing to do. That's a good practice to do, is to try and remember what you experienced and just as many details as you can about what you had.
I've been having intense COVID quarantine dreams. Like they're, you know what I mean? I feel like they're like really heightened right now. You know?
Right.
Not necessarily interesting, just intense and sometimes stressful.
Wow.
Oh boy. Riley, what do you got there, pal?
All right. I didn't print it out because I'm not.
It's fine. I don't either.
I'm not cool like you guys. All right.
You could have the opposite T-shirt. I don't print.
I don't print, man.
I don't print.
I'm sure you could make that a political statement somehow or another.
Yeah.
All right. Hi, club leaders, Thunderbird Scouts. I like that. That's good. The latest Listener Tales episode. I also like that instead of Elf Files. Listener Tales. Sorry, I'm going to stop commenting on every other word and just read this. Okay, here we go.
Guess you don't like my ideas.
Oh, Michael, Elf Files is really good. It's like X Files.
It's like the X Files, but it's the
We all
L-Files.
get it. No, it's good. It's great. No, it's like DuckTales. Oh God, this mic keeps
Oh,
falling.
I thought it was an L word reference. Kidding.
Yes, that's what's
Everyone knows I'm a huge L word fan.
Okay. The latest Listener Tales episode jogged my memory of an experience I had about 20 years ago when I graduated college. I received a generous bouquet of flowers.
A gorgeous bouquet, but it was a generous gift.
You know what's fun? You're good. I live cut back and forth between gallery view and speaker view for the recording here, and I looked away for one word, and you caught me. That one word as I cut the camera to myself.
I'm always reading along and correcting everybody.
I was like, I'm just going to casually cut to myself here. No one will even know I did it, and now everyone knows. So I'm going to cut to myself again. All right. I received a gorgeous bouquet of flowers in a crystal. Oh my God, now it's stuck on Michael. This is live production here. All right, hold on. Unpin.
Oh, handsome.
Let's just leave it on Michael while I talk. All right, there we go. Here we go. This is new to us. All right, we got some flowers in a crystal heirloom vase from my grandmother. When the flowers began to die, I put the vase out on the balcony, not thinking much of it. The next day, I came out to see a dark being standing inside the corner by the balcony door. It was a smoky gray looming figure, very stern. I could not see any features at all. It was almost like a silhouette. I didn't audibly hear a voice, but the message was clear. Get that vase inside. When I told my grandmother about this, she said nonchalantly, "Oh, that's Grace. It was her vase." My great-grandmother, whom I never knew, was apparently this type of person in life. What do you guys think? Was this a shadow person or her spirit? Can a shadow person be the ghost of a loved one, or is it a different entity entirely? I keep the vase secure in a china cabinet and have not seen anything since. Love,
Grandma
Jessica.
Grace. Great Grandma Grace loves that vase in a china cabinet.
Yep,
Doing a good job.
great grandma loves that vase. Keep it in a case. So say Grace. Yeah, I mean, sure, why not? That was grandma saying, that's a very grandma thing to say too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love the idea of a grandma coming back and being like, that's not in the right place.
Right.
I don't know where that goes. It makes me so happy.
That's the last physical memory of me on this planet. Put it back where a baseball's not going to hit it. I think shadow. I mean, look, are all shadow people ghosts of loved ones? No. Can they be? Yes, because I think sometimes that shadow form is just like the most you can perceive of the physical manifestation of that spirit. So yes, it can. It doesn't mean that all of them are. That's what I would say.
Yeah, same. I mean, I would even go so far as to say maybe unrelated, but just it just was shadowy. You know, maybe those are two separate entirely. Just that's how Grandma came across. You know.
Well, and reading that again, that great new book by Amy Bruni from Kindred Spirits, My Life with Ghosts. She talks about kind of how it takes a lot of energy to communicate from the spirit world. In other words, to move something or to reveal yourself as remember, like in Ghost. Remember, he had to go through ghost training to move shit and stuff like that. So I think that checks out on some level. Ghost training.
That was what was cool about that movie when I was a kid. Was I love the ghost training stuff.
Yeah, right. It's like Rocky IV, but with ghosts.
Yeah, that movie's like I gotta rewatch that film. That's like some good sci-fi fantasy in that movie.
Swayze's such a man too. I just love that dude. He's just and
he's a ghost now.
Yeah, and he's a real ghost now. Yeah.
I bet he got a jump start on all that ghost training from doing that movie. So he just came there. He was just like throwing pennies across the room. Totally.
I did this in a movie once, guys.
They're like, that actor ghost again. It's not the same as real ghost training.
Yeah, totally.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, it's time for more L-Files with Jen Kirkman. And we're back. How's that, everybody? Oh, wait.
Good.
We're back, yeah. Okay. Let's dig back into the L-Files with a letter from Bryce.
Oh, great. Here we go. Hello, Michael, Bryce, and Riley, and guest. I'm a new fan, currently starting from your podcast from the beginning. I love your podcast. You guys are doing a phenomenal job, and I just wanted to share my story with you.
Thank you.
During my teenage years, I lived with my mother in a duplex in Grand Prairie, Texas. This place seemed totally normal to me in the beginning. Occasionally, I would hear sounds, but I just assumed it was other people on the other side of the house. For instance, it sounded like someone was walking up the stairs because I could hear them creak or bumps on the wall. My cousin and I always had sleepovers, and she noticed the same things. Like my mother's room would sound like someone's in there, but the door would be locked and it would be us alone in the house. My mother's room connected to the bathroom. The toilet and shower had two doors, one to her room and one to my vanity, and then a door to the hall from my vanity, in an L shape. We always felt somewhat uncomfortable, but could never place why. One day, we decide to play the pencil game to communicate. Thinking nothing of it. I think she's talking about automatic writing. Thinking nothing of it because we didn't actually think anything was there. So we use two pencils with their sharpened ends meeting while you hold the very tips of the eraser ends. Yes is up and down. Yes is up and no is down. Oh, I see. Okay. We asked.
Bryce, you know a lot about touching tips, don't you, from your days in Reno? Growing up in Reno.
What? Yeah, dude, all the time. Yeah.
Touching Tips in Reno is another good BJ in the Shadow Bat song.
Yeah, that's a BJ in the Shadow Bat song. Touching Tips in Reno. Oh my
Wait,
God.
so do you put the pencils like this and you ask it a question and it goes up or down?
I guess, right? I mean,
right.
Mike,
No
is that
idea.
what you're guessing?
Yeah, so you hold the pencils with the sharpened ends. Oh no, yeah. So you hold the eraser ends so the sharpened points of the pencils are meeting.
I need
Right.
a sharp one.
So let's see. Let me grab. That's a good angle.
Right.
So you
I
have
got
like
one
this, and then
Okay.
like you're holding one and I'm holding one, and then you ask a question, and yes is up and no is down, right? So it's like
Oh,
this.
okay.
Yes or no questions.
One of my lyrics would be, "It's hard to touch tips
In Reno.
in Reno, Nevada."
When you don't have a tip and you just have a stump. Because Bigfoot ripped my dick off. Okay.
That's That's the chorus. Bigfoot.
Night of-
Oh, Bigfoot ripped my dick off.
It's about. It's
Bigfoot
all
ripped my dick
about.
off.
It's about what happens to the biker after that scene in Night of the Demon.
Yeah.
Reno.
Oh, there's
Said I didn't have enough hair on my shin.
You gotta have shin hair. All right, here we go. So we use 2 pencils with their sharpened ends meeting while you hold the very tips of the eraser ends. Yes is up, no is down. We asked if someone was there, and we got a yes. We are obviously freaked out and wanted to leave. I think we asked more questions, but I was too scared to recall them now. The doorknob to my mother's room had started turning by itself and shaking the door, and the door to the hall was doing the same. We couldn't turn the handle like it was locked. The lock was not locked because it was on our side, trapping us in. We stayed there a bit, totally uncomfortable and crying. I eventually got the strength to say, "Leave us alone," and was able to finally open the door to the hall, where we promptly ran out of the house. She continued to sleep over, but if she was there, we would take turns sitting on the toilet while others showered, so we were never alone.
I thought they were shitting their brains out.
Oh, no. We still heard sounds and movement, but we never tried to communicate again. Eventually, I moved out, and we occasionally reference this story when talking about our childhood. Thank you for your awesome podcast, Ayla. Wow.
Who knew touching pencil tips was such a powerful occult weapon?
Wow. Yeah. Shit.
Open to rip through the fabric of space-time.
Shit.
That's pretty powerful.
Yeah, something wanted to communicate. Yeah.
Yikes. Ayla, we'd like updates if you guys ever found out what the fuck was going on in that L-shaped hallway.
Mm.
I know that feeling. I get it at my sister's house. Her house isn't, it's newer. Like, it was an old little tiny house, and she and her then husband like built on it, but she lives like down the street from a graveyard. And when her house feels haunted to me. And when I'm staying there and all my family is like in the living room watching TV, I always go to bed early, and I'm like literally in my 40s going, "Dad." And he's like, "What?" I'm like, "I'm the only one I trust is my dad. My sister will fuck with me. My mother's like, 'What are you doing?' My dad will safely, like, I trust him to walk me upstairs, or I make him wait at the bottom of the stairs while I go into my room. But he won't. Like, no one will do it anymore. They're like, just stop. I'm like, but I know, I just feel something there, you know? But I know that feeling where like you can't shake it, that there's something there. And it makes me want to put my back up against something kind of, so nothing can be behind me. It's like that kind of feeling.
Yeah.
But you can't explain it.
I'm picturing you now coming back after, like, you know, the pandemic's over, and you come visit your family, and you're like, guys, I learned this new method. We can talk to ghosts. All right, I need 2 pencils. Everyone, get in the hallway with me.
Oh, that'd be nice.
Wouldn't that be fun, though?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Thank you, Ayla. All right, Riley, what do you got there?
All right. Hey, guys. I love the show, am a patron, and get excited every Wednesday when I see a new episode. I have a fun ghost hunt I went on in October of 2020, but I'll make that a separate email as there's a lot more to get into.
Ooh, a tease.
Yeah, this person knows how to set it up, build the tension.
Wow.
So I want to start on how I found myself believing in ghosts, or what I personally like to think is maybe residual energy now. I lived in an older home built in the 70s, but I think the basement was much older. It was...
I'm just laughing at the 70s is older.
Oh no, the basement is older than the house, I think is what they're saying.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I got you.
No, they literally say an older home built in the 70s.
Oh yeah, an older home built in the 70s. Oh, you're
the
right.
house I grew up in.
I was built in the 70s.
Yeah, I was too.
Now it all makes sense. I'm with you.
3 of the 4 of us were.
Okay. It was one of the creepiest homes I've lived in, and then and even to this day, I still have dreams about that place being haunted. I never saw anything that I remember, but I did have a terrible time with sleepwalking when my mom and I lived there. This was also the start of really vivid, sometimes prophetic dreams that lasted from about 7 to 14. My mother was definitely very open and okay with talking about ghosts and her experiences, so it was always presented as a real thing that others had experienced. My grandparents' house, I also believed to be haunted by my mother's childhood cat that lived to be A very opinionated, big energy 25-year-old cat. Wow.
Wow.
That's awesome. I'd hear the pat, pat, pat of little paws coming near the pull-out bed I'd sleep on weekends, and then I'd feel a slight pressure by my feet on the bed like a cat curling up into a ball.
Oh my God. I would
Ghost cat,
love that.
Oh, what any of us would give for a ghost cat.
Oh my God.
Come on, obviously.
Being a pet. That's on my dream pet.
No litter box. Perfect.
I want a Quaker parrot in my 70s, and I want a ghost cat now in my 40s.
This happened a few times, and often when I'm over there, I'll see something small and dark moving out of the corner of my eye. Okay, last one. The last haunted-ish house I resided in was when I was between the ages of 16 to 18. I had the whole of the mostly unfinished basement of a 2009 house to myself, an older 2009 house to myself. There would be times when I was the only person home and I'd hear movement, like someone was digging through plastic bags in the other room. There weren't any plastic bags. The area was mostly storage totes. I tried to tell my mother about it at the time, but she brushed it off as mice. But having lived with mice, you know what they sound like. The other creepy thing that would happen in this house is my old IBM tower and heavy monitor would just turn on by itself at terrifying times of the night. The first time it did it was 2:50 a.m. I turned the computer off, walked away, and turned it on again. Really freaked out
And
now.
it turned on again.
Thank you, Michael. God, the
On
best
its
proofreader.
own.
Yeah,
Sorry.
that was an important
Best proofreader for anyone except myself.
live proofreading by Michael McMillan. That's a pandemic skill you can do over Zoom.
Available. It costs $100 an hour. I need to pay rent.
He'll watch you read stuff and tell you when you're wrong.
Yes, I'll be the one in your ear during your Zoom. Go back.
All right. Really freaked out now. I unplugged the whole thing and slept on the couch. It turned itself on at least twice. This was the only time it ever did that. Wait, so he's saying it turned itself on while it was unplugged? Is that what? That's what.
Apparently.
Michael, I'm deferring to you on this.
I think it turned itself on at least twice before he unplugged it and moved to the couch.
Okay, gotcha. That makes sense.
Or he or she. Sorry.
I hope this wasn't too long and that you are all surviving in COVID times. We are, thank you. Go get regressed and kisses, Nessie.
He, she, or they, I should say.
Nessie.
Wow, yeah. You know, my parents have a desktop computer in the guest room when I go to visit. And you know when you try to sleep in your parents' guest room, that tower on that old PC is the brightest. There might as well be like a lighthouse in the bedroom with you.
So true.
So hard to fall asleep with one of those things. Whether or not it's haunted, I can't. It does feel like another presence entirely in the room.
Yep.
Yeah, the fans and the clicking and everything. But man, I don't know. I relate to the ghosts in the machines thing because there's just, I mean, even today, this is why we're on Zoom. Maybe the spirits wanted us to hang out and see each other's faces, and we're not allowed.
That was definitely, and you know what's even weirder is like I knew we were audio only, but for some reason I'm in a night t-shirt, but like I seriously was like, oh, I'll put on some gold eyeshadow for fun. Nobody cared, but there was like something that's like I almost knew there was going to be a video.
Yeah,
Jen, did you sabotage our first attempt at a recording just so we could see your gold eyeshadow?
She just kept pretending. I don't know. I can't hear you.
But you saw you FaceTime me. You saw. I was going to say in some of my night terrors, some of them haven't been terrors. Some of them have been nice terrors where like I'm
joys.
Where I'm I feel the presence of like a ghost cat, like I feel something sitting on my feet. And so I relate to that feeling. It's so real when you feel it, and there's nothing else it could be, especially if you live alone and don't have a pet. Like it's so weird.
I've had a couple, I mentioned this a few months ago about feeling that like in sort of a half sleep state with Albie, my dearly departed bulldog. And I've been having such vivid, intense dreams about him visiting me lately. And some of them are like when I'm like half asleep, and it really feels like I can reach out next to me on my bed. And, look, I've got Violet usually there with me, but the difference between the size and shape of Albie, I mean, Albie has a very squishy bulldog face, and there's a very tactile sense to those kind of dreams. This sounds like this person's not even asleep when the cat gets up on the bed, but I love that. I was going to say to respond to what Riley was saying, which is, look, if there's a poltergeist and there's maybe a wilderness geist, maybe, there's an electrogeist. Maybe there's a poltergeist that lives in
I like that.
Electric machines.
Well, you watch
the
all
Gremlins.
those.
They would say the Gremlins.
Yeah,
The Gremlins used to be in the planes.
You watch all those ghost shows, and that's the majority of how they communicate with these discarnate entities, through some type of electrical equipment, whether it's EVP on their digital voice recorders, or these other types of out-of-the-box electronic equipment that they're using to, trigger some sort of detection of these ghosts. So, yeah, obviously, it seems to be, the electricity in that sort of realm is an easy conduit for these discarnate entities to use.
Totally. Yeah. It makes sense. It would be easier to fuck with a circuit than move a picture or something, like just a small amount of energy to mess with the circuit,
Yeah. But I'm thinking maybe like there are nature spirits, maybe there are machine spirits that are now.
No, I like that. I dig that. That's a cool
from the machine themselves, in the way that like elves and fairies come from the woods. Maybe we have like digital elves and fairies now. I don't know. Jen,
I can see now. I envision Patrick Swayze going, "I want to skip the electrics class. I want to go right to tossing pennies and cups." Whoa there, Swayze. I know you did a movie back on The Real World, but
yeah, think about like ghosts having to keep up with technology even when they're dead. It's like, oh, I died in 1902. Analog was just getting started, and now
I just got used to haunting pagers. Now this,
yeah, right. Well, that idea kind of haunts me, right?
I remember when I could just haunt children in a tilt-a-whirl.
Yeah.
Now I have to. Now I'm showing up in TikToks. I don't know what's going on.
Who's to say?
A grandfather clock?
Imagine seeing a ghost on a TikTok. That's going to happen.
Yes.
Oh,
yeah. It seems inevitable, right? At some point. Yeah. I'm sure there's already one there.
Probs.
But I think about that a lot. That the other side, if you will, might have its own trials and tribulations that you have to go through there as well. So it might not just be passing on or the occasional haunting, but perhaps there's some sort of purpose or meaning or things that you have to accomplish on that side as well and learn.
Can I just get a rest?
I know. I hope not. God.
Because I'm already like coasting till pension kicks in because I am done. I'm going to stay an actor as long as I can get my SAG pension and then I'm out.
Oh my God. I know. Isn't that awful?
Need a nap. Okay, Jen,
I just want my cat books and my wine.
And my ghost cats. All right. Jen, what do you got for us?
This gal's got quite a personality in her writing.
All right.
I enjoy it. Hey there, BCC, and insert name of guest, Jen. Hello. All caps. Let's get right into some strangeness.
That is
it is. Okay, good. My grandfather passed the day after Christmas of 2020. He had complications due to COPD and was in and out of the hospital for some time. As a family, we had been mentally prepared for him to go, so when he did, it wasn't much of a shock. He was in the hospital being monitored for troubled breathing when I came home for the holidays. I was talking with my husband on the phone when a strange feeling came over me. Maybe it's intuition, maybe it's Maybelline. But for some reason, I told him, I think something big is going to happen today. We both kind of brushed it off because, let's be honest, 2020 was a roller coaster of a year and it felt like something ominous was constantly happening. Plus, it was the end of the holiday season, and there's always that weird lull feeling once all the chaos begins to settle down, you know? After we hung up, I just continued with my day and thought nothing much of my weird feeling. I was on the opposite end of the house from my mother. She was in the living room watching the Fireplace channel on cable. It's weird, I know. But that's an important detail for later. My son was out of the house with my stepdad, so there was no chaos or noise within the house. Just the sound of a televised campfire and ambient noise. The perfect time for some strangeness. That's when I heard the voice of my grandfather. It sounded like it came from the living room where my mom was. I couldn't understand what was being said because he was talking to her in Tagalog. I was never taught the language because, well, that's another story for a different podcast, LOL. I went into the living room and told my mom what had just happened. We both kind of just stared at each other, shocked, and went, wow, that's weird, and continued with our day. I have an extensive history with the paranormal and possible abilities that I'm trying to hone in on. My mom is very aware of it and has her own abilities, so this is quite normal for us and our family. A few minutes later, Mom realized her phone was missing. We looked all over the house and couldn't find it. I tried to call it, but my mom had her phone set to silent. Eventually, my mom found the phone in my grandfather's room, on his bed. Maybe she left it on his bare mattress after stripping the sheets to be washed. Or maybe my grandfather put it there for her to find. And that's when my mom got the call from the hospital saying that my grandfather had passed at 9 a.m. that morning. I looked at my phone to see if I could get a possible timeline of the weird events that had just happened. I got off the phone with my husband at 8:59 a.m.
Whoa.
Heard my grandfather's voice maybe 10 minutes later. Went on a hunt for my mom's phone maybe 30 minutes after that. The sequence of events happened relatively close to each other. Pretty cool, right? Pretty strange? Anyway, I hope you enjoyed my story. I'll write in again on how I met my dead great-grandmother and great-great-grandfather after attending one of Adela's online classes. Alexa.
Whoa.
Is it Adela? I said Adela.
Adela. That's fine. Adela.
Wow, interesting.
Whoa. That, yeah, I believe that. Sure. Yeah.
I don't know what Tagalog is. Is that,
It's a language. Let's see. It's spoken in.
Is it like
Somewhere in Southeast
Zealand?
Asia, I think.
Yeah, it's also spoken in the Philippines, and it's an official language in the Philippines.
There you go.
Filipino. It's native to the Philippines. They speak it in Luzon and neighboring islands, and forming the basis of standardized national language of the Philippines. So it's
Okay.
an Austronesian language. So Polynesian, it's in the Polynesian, Borneo, Philippine, and Austronesian family of languages.
Man, you can sound so smart when you have the internet in front of you. You know,
I know. Well, I thought
It's amazing.
I thought it was Polynesian. I didn't know if
not that you're not.
So I'm certainly smarter with Google in front of me. That's for sure.
Aren't we
but
all?
I thought, but I wasn't correct. So that's why I had to look it up.
But that's the story. It's a classic, that passing window, right? Where the relative can kind of playfully communicate or let people know things are okay, or just sort of ease the tension of the moment. You know, it's a cool story. I like it.
Yeah, we've heard that before. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I feel like 40 minutes is like too long to call and tell the family that their father died. But what do I know?
That's what I was wondering too. I was like, but maybe they didn't know. No, that makes no sense because they would have heard. Yeah.
Wow.
Dude, hospitals are rough this year.
Well, maybe they'd been calling too because the phone was on the bed in the other room and.
Right.
Can't hear it.
Trying to find the phone. Yeah, that's true. Awesome, Alexa. Thank you for sharing, and we're sorry for your loss.
Indeed.
Okay, I got one more for us, everybody. Here away I go. Hey, guys. First off, huge fan of the show. High strangeness while laughing. Nothing better. My name is Charlie. I'm not going to say his last name just in case. I'm 30 years old from Olney, Illinois, and currently living in Evansville, Indiana. I'm a private equity accountant for a large administrative company and have been experiencing strange things since 2012. I hope I didn't just blast out too much details about your job and your location.
I'd like to think those two things are directly related too.
yeah, that would be great.
Yeah.
In May 2012, I just moved back from Illinois to Sarasota as my father was just in a severe motorcycle accident, as well as my mom being diagnosed with breast cancer. That's a rough time. I sat outside one night smoking a cig, and a bright, singular light flew over me and stops. Okay, I forgot to tell everybody because we were distracted.
You sent an email.
I sent you some photos, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm going to actually open up one of these photos myself and see if I can throw it up on my share screen. Let me see. I'm going to go to my...
we're getting techie. Look at this.
I see. I'm looking at it.
Can you guys see me even though I'm looking at my email?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Yeah.
Wait, what?
Grandpa wants to know.
We're learning together here.
Did you think that when you opened up your email, it blocks your camera?
Yeah, I did. I was just wondering. I mean, I didn't know.
That's so cute.
Grandpa didn't know.
It's like
Riley,
Peekaboo, you know?
I've got them on my
Do me a
phone.
favor
Oh,
and share your screen with one of these, with maybe that first photo, so I can read and the people who are watching can see the photo.
I think I can do that. Yeah,
Yeah, do that. Throw that.
I have
up
my
there
email
the
up
share
on
screen.
another
Oh
computer.
yeah, that's a fucking classic UFO right
Put
there.
me on
Okay,
the-
so now, oh my god, that's so great. You guys see me? That's like when you're a kid and you cover your eyes and think people can't see. So okay, Charlie is smoking a cigarette, sees a singular light flying over me. Which
God, that
stops.
cigarette sounds good right now.
Oh, my God. I know.
Just stopped it there, just like,
I smoke them if you got them, guys. I immediately realized this was no plane or anything else. It just stayed over me. I get my phone light, wave it around, and briefly it moves as well. I stayed out until the sun came out watching this object before it dims to nothing. 1 week later, I get the courage to go drive around in the country by myself in search of the light. And now I can't read my... Hold on. Keep that up. That's good. As I was driving, I noticed what I thought was a street light in my rear view mirror until I turned and it was still there.
Man, that's awesome.
I turn again, still there. I drove for several miles with this basketball-sized orange light in my rearview mirror at all times. I called my friends crying out of confusion and excitement. I ended up parking at a random road, got out of my car, and just watched this light about 200 yards away. I sat again until the sun was starting to come up, but before it broke the horizon, this light started to grow.
Weird.
Pulled out my old, not smartphone, and was able to take 2 pictures as it was glowing. And before I know, the light vanishes. So I think those are the pictures we're looking
It's
at.
like a saucer shape in there too. If you
It's
zoom.
Yeah.
wild. The
Yeah.
main story I would like to tell is later in that summer, roughly July, my friend and I went to a cabin near one of the lakes. We had been seeing what we call cruisers. Single light looks like a star, white or orangish red. I've seen that, by the way, Charlie. Quite frequently now, and this night would become one I would never forget. The first thing we noticed is the smell of what we could only think of was sulfur.
Yeah.
Only smelt it at night, and we were out there frequently. Then it was a strangely cold for a summer night. I remember getting several layers of clothes out of my car. Just had moved, lots of crap in my car still. While we were watching the skies, we decided to walk down the road a little ways, and we get parted some. As I'm watching the skies, I see a light appear, which catches my eyes, and it free falls down in front of me, straight into the cornfield. As soon as it gets to the ground level, it vanishes. I scream for my friend what I just saw, and we walk back to the car. We then start discussing the idea that maybe they are interested in farming soil due to crop circles. We went on any lead we could. And we decided to take a couple steps into the field at roughly 2 a.m. Now, the field is about a country square mile with a rundown farmhouse on the far side. Literally within a minute of us stepping into it, a orange light appears next to the house, which was very strange. We begin to wonder if they can see us in the field. Next thing we know, 2 very large, perfectly rectangular lights appeared out of nowhere, directly at us, aimed directly at us. We froze like a deer in headlights, and I asked, "What is that? Can they see us?" And after 10 seconds, the lights disappear. No sounds before or after, and no indication of farm equipment, just 2 huge lights in the field. We were confused, but assumed it was a late-night farmer. We decided to drive on the other side of the field to see if we could find anything. And as we do, we drive by the rundown farmhouse, and I see a man in a flannel shirt outside with his hands on his hips. We decided to wait until sunrise and see if it was a tractor or shed we didn't know about. When we drive back in the morning, there was no shed, no farm equipment, and it hits us that we were flashed by 2 large rectangular quiet lights. After talking with my friend, I told him I saw a guy in flannel standing outside, and he said, I didn't see him. I saw a guy in his underwear holding a dog by the door.
What?
It also hit us that we were most likely woken up by the lights at 2 a.m. and were also investigating. Still regret not stopping that they were also woken up, the people that they saw. We still regret not talking to them, but at the time we were convinced it was a shed or tractor. The light source was a shed or tractor. I have continued to have experiences ever since that first night, and it has drastically changed my life and how I view and operate my day-to-day for the better. I will attach the photos I took from the night I believed I was followed in my car, as well as others if it fits in the email. Keep doing the good work, and maybe one day we'll be lucky enough to play bullshit or believe it. Thank you, Charlie. Yeah, so he attached a couple orb photos.
Yeah, they're pretty good.
Did you show the nighttime ones, Riley?
Yeah, I can't. Hold on. I didn't know where in the story I was supposed to show that.
Well, I think they were just extra ones. I think maybe he's
Here we go.
a few. See,
So
You guys
he
seeing
saw
that?
and then kept waiting and looking at it until the sun came up, and then it got lower and became the other things we saw.
Yes, and I think that maybe that photo we were just looking at was from another orb that he'd seen. But that orange orb we just saw, that reminds me of stuff you've seen, Bryce.
Yeah, that looks exactly like. That looks exactly like it.
Wowie, whoa, Charlie, spooky stuff. Thank you for sharing that. Guys, that brings us to the end of this very unique L-Files episode. I want to thank Jen Kirkman, godmother of BCC, for joining us. I want to thank you guys for writing in. If you listener, you are thinking, I got a story, email us, BigfootCollectorsClub@gmail.com, and we might read it on the show. If we haven't read your letter yet, by the way, we'll probably get to it. We're getting more and more now. Try to keep it tight. Try to keep it a little bit shorter, around the length that you just heard. There's some good stuff you guys send us, but they're just like too long. So try to edit it down a little bit. And that'll give a good chance of it being on the show. Sorry about that. All right. Jen,
Yes.
We don't know where we can find Bigfoot, but where can people find you?
On the internet, Instagram @Jen Kirkman, 1 N and Jen. I have a podcast. It's called No Fun. It's a solo podcast. I just kind of ramble about stuff going on in my head, in the world, and in life. It's fun if you like that kind of thing. And that's it.
Great. Boys, anything to plug for yourselves?
Expedition Bigfoot, Sunday nights, Discovery Plus, and Dirty Picture Cover-Up, an adult game for childish people.
Ooh.
Draw a dirty picture, cover it up, be judged, win. Get one.
Ready?
The Spindrift album's still in pre-order. It will come out, I promise you. It's really good, and when it finally comes out, hopefully you'll enjoy it. But go pre-order it at alternativetentacles.com.
Yes, and links to both of those will be up there. And Jen, if you have anything, I'll throw a link up for you as well in the show notes. There's one more thing you guys can do for us. Say you can't join the Patreon, you don't have the dough, you don't have the time, you don't have the love for your boys over here, Bigfoot Collectors Club. Do us at least this favor. Go to Apple Podcasts, give us a 5-star review. It'll help get the show to more people. And if you do, we might read it here on the air, just like this one. Believe It All by KY.Nini61. 5 stars. While traveling each week to see my grandchildren who live on opposite ends of the state, I discovered this podcast filled with mystifying stories of the impossibly possible, and I was hooked. Michael, Bryce, and Riley, and esteemed guests,
All right.
especially tonight, are always a mind-boggling and interesting listen. They push you to the edge and then some. One of my favorite podcasts for my commute since I have been from my childhood, a believe it kind of gal. I mean,
Love that.
this is a 5-star review. Thank you so much. It doesn't have to be that long. Oh, KY might stand for Kentucky, so maybe they're driving through Kentucky, where Bryce has recently been on Expedition Bigfoot. All right, everybody, thanks so much. Thanks again to Jen Kirkman. She'll be back, of course, sometime in the near future. I don't doubt it. Next week is our big 150th episode of Bigfoot Collectors Club.
Whoa.
Fucking believe it.
That's crazy. I didn't even know that. Lost count.
Yeah. So
Wow.
We'll have something
Congrats!
for you. I can't wait for that. And thank you for listening. Good night.
And go get regressed.
All right.
Yay!
Bigfoot Collectors Club is produced by Riley Bray. Our theme song is Come Alone by Suneaters, courtesy of Lotuspool Records. If you like the show, please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts. It really helps get the podcast to more listeners. To support the show, check out our Patreon page at patreon.com/Bigfoot Collectors Club and unlock multiple reward episodes every month.